when it's just one of those days. The wins were the ultimate equalizer on Saturday at the Players' Championship, giving us a stacked leaderboard heading into Sunday's final round. Despite the tough conditions, 20-year-old Korean Siwoo Kim decided to live on the wild side. Driver off the dirt.
Really nice tempo, and he likes it.
Yeah,
you don't chase after it if it was as good.
Riding that left edge and up and onto the green.
Siwoo drove up the leaderboard with his 68 and is now just 2 strokes off the lead. He wasn't the only one muscling up. Rookie Cody Gribble went for it on the new drivable par 4 12th.
That's right at the slot right there. That's going to get closer too, folks.
And it turned out to be pretty nice.
Heck yeah, that is a great shot.
But sometimes you are just too powerful. Rory McIlroy's 330-yard driving iron, that's right, driving iron, was surprisingly too much club.
Well, he's hit a driving iron that's gone about 320 yards. Unbelievable.
The famous 17th was a fun one on Saturday. Players loved the front left pin position, and only 10 balls found the water. That is 58 total for the week, but who's counting? Unfortunately, Ben Crane did have to count. After hitting it off the bulkhead on his first try, he looked like he had the perfect shot, but the flagstick had other plans. Meanwhile, Pat Perez put on a show early in the morning as the third group off, tying the low round of the week with his 66.
Just the proper spot. How close can you reel it in? How about to 14 inches away? Part of a 6-under par round, and Pat Perez made the cut on the number, and now he's flirting with the top 10.
Co-leader Kyle Stanley stuck one close for the crowd, too.
Well, this is a good line here.
Oh, yeah.
This should come back.
This should be very good by the time it finishes. Kyle, you might want to watch.
From the island to the beach, Henrik Stenson found the bottom of the cup on 14. But no one got the crowd going like Sergio Garcia Saturday. The former Players champ jumped up the leaderboard 36 spots with his 67, thanks to eagles like this. J.B. Holmes and Kyle Stanley co-lead with the likes of Ian Poulter and Sergio Garcia lurking. You can catch all of Sunday's final round on PGA Tour Live beginning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll see you there and on Monday for Trending on Tour.
So we're in the practice area here at TPC Sawgrass, and Cookie, this is like fantasy world for PGA Tour players.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we can get a lot of things done right here. I love this practice area.
Yeah, an amazing facility. So let's go ahead and do like a fantasy camp. We've got in a very close area nearly every situation that players might face today if they miss a green. And these greens are so hard to hit, they're going to miss some greens. So, Cookie, why don't you start us off with this one?
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of this where you're going to have a tight lie. You have to go over a peat dye bunker to a short pin. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to open our stance up. We're going to aim very far to the left. Get your body and your lines aimed to the left. I'm going to get the face wide open. Use the bounce. So you're going to have to figure out where the bottom of your swing is. Where is the bottom of my swing? And now we're going to go hit it. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set that loft early, and then I'm going to hold it. I say set it and forget it. So I'm going to set it, forget it, keep your speed up, and then follow through nice and high. So set it, forget it.
Pretty pure right there, Cookie. Now, here's another situation that players are going to face if they get in one of these mini pot bunkers that guard these greens. I want you to notice this is a typical peat dye bunker. It's flat sand. If you miss a green on a normal golf course, you got a little bit of sand that's on an angle that helps you elevate the ball. In a peat dive bunker, you've got to provide the elevation. So how do you do that? My angle of attack on a normal bunker shot is a little bit shallow. In this flat sand bunker with a little bit of a lip, I got to get some steepness in that backswing. So normal angle of attack might be here. Peat die is going to be a little more here. Definitely gets the ball up a lot quicker. Cookie, what you got for me over there?
You know, you're not going to have fairway lies all the time, so you're going to find yourself in some rough. Same type of thing as off that tight lie. I'm going to get my body face to the left. All my lines are going to be going to the left. The club face is going to be aiming at my target. I'm going to set this club again, and I'm going to forget about the loft, but I want to make sure that my hands are nice and light on the grip, and at the top. And when I finish my backswing, I want my left shoulder pointing down at the ball. That's going to help keep the club going through the grass, and then keep your speed up. Set it. Keep your speed up.
That'll work just fine right there. Okay, Cookie, another situation the players are going to be faced with. Tightly mown area. You got 20 or 30 feet to the edge of the green. What do? I'm guessing that one goes back in the bag.
This one's going right in the bag. I'm going right here.
Pull that hybrid out for me.
I'm going to pull this hybrid out. I'm going to take this head cover off. And what I like about this shot, it gets the ball on the grass early. It gets the ball going in a nice pace through there, but I'm not going to use a putting stroke. I'm not going to use my putting method. I think that's a little bit more, I think that's misinformation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the ball back in my stance. I'm going to have my hands ahead. I'm going to use my putting grip, but I'm going to be on more of a descending blow like that. I'm going to try to get that club face pinched on the back of the ball, get that ball rolling nice.
Okay, Cookie, I can appreciate that shot. I can appreciate it.
You're not going with your 60, are you? Shows your talents.
You know, you just step back and watch this right here. You'll see it today, no doubt about it, folks. Players are going to feel nervous. Get that putter in your hands. Because your bad one with a putter, it's still going to be pretty darn good. And finally, I want to wrap with this. Come on over here, Cookie. Here's how I want to wrap. Damon Hack, we hope you enjoyed our short game fantasy camp.
I've got a line on my golf ball, and I put my line on my putter to that golf ball. And you know what? I just worked on making a nice, smooth stroke. Thank goodness that wasn't in the tournament.
Well, you still won the championship. And when you talk about pace, you're talking about the pace of the putt, or you're talking about the tempo of your swing?
I'm talking about the pace of the putt. Okay. You know, I'm always looking at speed of the putt, and I try to make my, the pace of my putter match that pace. The speed of my backstroke. But I've always had a kind of a very, it's kind of my golf swing, kind of lazy, and that's just kind of the way I swing. That's the way I stroke it. I got it pretty. I've always was taught slow backstroke, slow backswing.
Suzanne, when you were out there and you heard, I know that there was some confusion as to actually what did happen. What was your reaction when you heard about the 4-shot penalty?
I didn't really. I thought it was something more than just like a warning for slow play when you have two rules officials come up and talk to a player. At the time, I just let them kind of talk it out. I was told on the tee what had happened. Her 4-shot penalty. I felt awfully bad for her. Thought she took it with the character she is. She fought back with birdies, and it's just a true class from Lexi of taking that, because we played we played fantastic, both of us. Final day, major, we know all what's on the line, and then you get that right in the face after 12 played holes. That's not easy, and for her to come back with birdies, I even got goosebumps talking about it, because I think it shows what a character she is. So hopefully she can go out and win this, because that's what she deserves from that.
It was obviously difficult for her. How difficult was it for somebody like you chasing the title? Because it obviously throws you off knowing what she's going through as well.
Well, obviously through the crowds against me, obviously people want to pull for Lexi. But that is what it is, and I really hope people would have done the same for me if that was me in her situation. So I tried to tell her, like, stand up, make birdies, and try and go win this. So I really hope she does now.
Yeah, you mentioned that Lexi was a class act. Judy Rankin and Mike Tirico commented over and over how much of a class act you were out there handling it with her. Congratulations. Good for you.
Thank you.
Is it that's so exceptional about this golf swing? Well, first of all, setup position is fantastic. Love the width of stance that she's got here. You can see with an iron in her hand, this appears to be like a 7-iron, maybe even an 8-iron, but you can see nice wide stance in that. Now, let's just watch the balance and the rhythm in this motion. Excellent swing right there. Excellent balance that she gets into her finish very, very well. Now, what I love is what she does, particularly with the lower body. So when we go and we run this through here, watch how at the top of the swing, you can see she's loaded up, made a good coil into the backswing. When she starts to go, pay attention to what happens with the lower body here. As it starts to go forward and into the downswing, you can see how she shifts into that lower body, and the lead hip and lead leg start to rotate out of the way. Nice plant. You can see it almost looks like she's got a lot of heel weight right there as she's coming down. That's fantastic. That's that lower body is going back. We're going to talk about that. Hip depth. Now as she starts to rotate through, the lead leg is straightening up, the trail leg is moving in. You can see the heel, the compression of the toes all to the instep, not moving forward to the target line, but moving down towards the target itself. Great impact position as she arrives to impact. Look at how she's held the angle and then comes through into an extremely well-balanced finish. It's just a fantastic golf swing, and this is one that we're going to see a lot of. So let's go over to the hitting area here and just talk about a couple of things that I know are going to help you improve your accuracy and your consistency. As we said, Lydia is number one on the LPGA Tour this year in greens and regulation, and she's also hit 86% of her greens at the Evian Masters. Fantastic week, obviously. 63 on Sunday. Crazy good. So, first thing that you want to understand about what Lydia does is when she comes through, the hips, in a down-the-line view here, Rut, her hips get very what is called deep. They move back and away, and the spine angle is maintained because the lower body, the hips in particular, are moving back. That's why she's got that great heel weight as she comes through there. So many of you, as you're coming down into the strike, your hips are going to, your knees are going towards the target line, the weight is going towards the toes, and the body starts to go up, and the hip comes more towards the target line than away from the target line. What that does is it affects the path of the club as it starts to come down into the strike. So it starts to get underneath for a really good player. The path is moving out and away, and now you have to have an excessive amount of face rotation to save that shot. And what ends up happening is you get some errant play, some inconsistent play, certainly not accurate. 86% of her greens in a major championship is pretty impressive. And the way that happens is by making sure that you have that depth of hip movement. So what we like to do is take this bar, and what does this have to do with hips? Well, this is going to help you understand what's going on with your knees. So as my knees start to move down this way, my hips are going to go back. If my knees go towards the target line over there, my hips are going to go underneath, and they're not going to get away. Then I don't get any counterbalancing in the weight. So we set this up, and basically what you're doing is you're setting that just above the toes right there. Now as we swing through, I want to make sure that my knees do not hit that bar when they come through. So my lead knee has to move away, my trail knee has to move along that line. That's going to drag some weight into the instep of the trail foot. And what I'm going to start to get is, and this is something that happened this week at my academy, we started seeing a stretching of the calf right here. That was what one of my students was feeling, was that the calf was getting stretched. So we do that little drill there. And when you first start, what I want you to do is do this slowly. Don't go fast. If you go fast, you're going to create all kinds of bad things. You want to get a feel of what's happening with those knees and how those knees are affecting the hips. And when you get through the finish, you're going to feel like your hips have almost moved back and away over to the rotation side, or to the left side for the right-handed player. Rotate it out of the way. Get a feel of what that feels like. Now we've done that for a while. Now what we do is we just make a practice swing and just imagine that bar is there. You're going to feel the weight distribution change completely in that motion. And now you can see what a good clean strike that is. This one has my interest. This one is, oh yeah!
What's the reaction been from players to this possible change down the road?
Well, it depends on who you ask, George, and we've talked to a lot of players about this today. Some feel that reading greens is an art. Others feel like it's a science, and these green books would contribute to that science. So those who like feel on the greens are opposed to those who want the data.
Where do you draw the line? What's the difference between me taking those books and transferring it all into my yardage book? They're not going to take the yardage book from us. So, you know, where do you draw the line? Yeah, I understand you want skills and being able to use your eyes to read the greens. Who knows? I mean, it seems like everything they do right now is reactive and not proactive. Yeah, look at Lexi's ruling, now changing that rule. Dustin's ruling, you know, everything's a reaction to something. They're never ahead of the curve, and it's unfortunate.
I think the question has to be, what are they trying to accomplish? Because then you open up the floodgates for what can you write down in your notes? What instruments can you use to measure greens? So I think they're opening up something that they're going to have a lot of headaches on if they decide to do this, because then you're going to have a lot of other rules about what can we do and what can't we do.
I never look at the green book. I mean, we carry one. Kenny will carry one, and I might ask him once a tournament, what does the green book say? But we do okay without the green book.
I use a green book whenever I have an opportunity, but at the same time, you know, that's my secondary source. I've always used my eyes and kind of feel first, and then I look at the book just to confirm. And you know, so for me, either way, it doesn't matter. You know, whether we have them or we don't. But you know, it's kind of one of those things that probably would make practice rounds a little bit more important, and it also would probably speed up play a little bit, because guys would have to actually go with their look and their read and not have a secondary, or if they have their caddy reading the putt, then three opinions on the greens.
You know, it's interesting. Last week, the USGA and the R&A made their announcement that they are looking into these green books and trying to decide if they are good or bad for the game of golf. This has been talked about for quite a while now on the PGA Tour. As a matter of fact, at the last Player Advisory Council meeting, this subject was brought up and discussed. As for now, the PGA Tour is just going to watch and see what the USGA and the R&A will do. They will likely follow that lead. If they decide to eliminate these green books, then they're probably going to do that on the PGA Tour. However, George, there is an option for the PGA Tour to establish a local rule on tour if indeed these green books are disallowed, and allow them to be in the hands of the world's greatest players.
Be interesting to see if that played out down the road. Thanks, Todd.
Hi, I'm Michael Breed, host of the Golf Fix. We've got a Facebook question here, and this Facebook question is coming to us from Steve in Massachusetts in Tewksbury. When driving the ball with a 3-wood, do I want to hit down on the ball like I was hitting it off the deck? You know what, Steven? No. When you are hitting the ball off of a tee, you're obviously hitting it on the tee because the driver isn't maybe cooperating, or you're trying to get the ball to get a little bit of elevation to it. I don't want you taking the 3-wood and hitting down on this thing. I want this club moving along the ground. But I do want you focusing on getting the tee out of the ground. So when we tee that ball up, I want just a little bit of the top of the ball above the top of the club. I don't want a lot. With the driver, you're going for about half the ball. With the 3-wood, you're just looking for a very little bit of it. And then when you swing this club through, I want the club moving along the ground, but I want you in your mind imagining that you're going to get that tee out of the ground. It's not a downward strike, but it's definitely a low strike because I want that club low, all right? So I'm seeing that tee right under that ball. And now I got that tee to come out of the ground right there. I made the strike that I wanted to make, and that ball's not going to get excessive curve. We're hitting that 3-wood because we want to get this ball into the fairway. That's why we've gone to that club, all right? That's going to help you learn how to hit that 3-wood into the fairway off the tee.
Okay, we've all heard this term, so here we go. We're going to get up and cover the ball. What does cover the ball mean? That ball is covered. Does that have anything to do with golf? So when you tell people cover it, what are you talking about? All right, so what does cover really mean? When they're talking about that, what they mean is when they come down into the ball, they want their right shoulder, right hip, and their right side to go through the ball together. That's what we're trying to do. So it's having those things line up and go through the ball together. At MalaskaGolf.com, there's 4 ways to learn. There's the M system. There's skill pathways. There's I feel your pain. There's the teaching clinic. And then there's Ask Mike, where we're going to answer your questions so you not only play the game, but you really understand it.
You know, a lot of students come to me and they talk about hitting pitch shots way too low. Now, when you hit pitch shots that are too low, what happens is you tend to lean out in front of it and you tend to drag the handle, and the butt of the club starts pointing way, way, way too far out in front of you, and that's going to cause you to hit very low pitches. Now, here's what I want you to do to stop that. I want you to focus on keeping your body nice and stable. I want your head staying between your feet, and we want to make sure that we focus on the butt of the club. If we can return the butt of the club to our left pocket, we will preserve the loft of the club, and when we do that, we're going to hit higher pitch shots. So, center the body, return the butt of the club to your left pocket, and I promise you, you're going to hit it higher in the air.
I'm Sarah Brown alongside our professor, Martin Hall. And Martin, I'm sure you have a lot of things to tell us about the short game.
Well, I have one thing in particular.
Okay.
If you went to a doctor and you had a broken arm, he would put your arm in a
cast.
He would put you in a cast. If you went to a dentist when you were 12 or 13 and you had sticky out teeth, they would put your teeth in a
braces.
Braces.
Yeah.
If you have a broken short game, you need to put your head and neck in braces for the same reasons. Now, the cast, the braces, how long do you leave them there for? Until you don't need them anymore.
Right.
So this rather exotic-looking thing, which I'm definitely going to make you put on in a moment, but I will hold my own feet to the fire first. Getting the eyes to be level and straight is of paramount importance in the short game. Much overlooked, much undertaught, incredibly important. Now, I made this very graphic so that people watching this could see it. You could do this just as easily with a coat hanger, a wire coat hanger, just bend it, tape it to the top of a hat here like I have done, and just get it where it's fairly straight. So when I put it on, I'm going to look straight at my intrepid cameraman, Anthony. He's trying not to laugh, like Tin Cup, here we go again. But you can see as I'm looking in the camera, my eyes are level. I'm not tilted, and I'm not twisted. Now, tilted and twisted are no way to be when you're pitching. So if I set up to the golf ball, a great procedure is to set up with the club here. I'm looking out to the horizon as if I was looking off the bow of a ship, actually. My eyes will tend to be sort of straight and level there, and I want the bend forwards to be at the hip so that my eyes stay what I'd call straight onto that golf ball. And if I make any error, it would be that the leading eye is a touch closer to the ground than the trail. Now, that gives me a chance to swing in the correct direction. And because I'm tilted just slightly, it gives me a great probability that I'll just pinch the ground as I hit the ball. I'm putting the descent in actually with the setup, and it helps me get a lot of things correct. Now, it's one of those things where people say, oh, yeah, I don't need to do that. There's a very, very, very strong probability you do.
Right.
And you'll only know if you need it when you actually use it. So please, please, give this a try. Now, obviously, because my head seems to be a lot bigger than yours.
It's a little bit bigger than mine.
Here we go. Now, how does that feel?
Yep.
Outstanding. If Palmer could see you now, Palmer being your baby boy, if he could see Mama now, is Mama Brown. Okay, so the eyes are level.
Yep.
Now, I would want you to just bend forwards. Yeah. Now, I know that that's not your normal setup.
No,
I know it.
It's
because your normal setup, just set up,
like
we'll
this.
show the viewers at home, your normal setup would
My
have
eye.
this eye a bit closer to the ground.
Yep.
So that you would be there. You
Yep.
would be tilted and off to the right. Now, that tends to make people bottom out too early. So, bigger student, don't do that.
Right.
I want you to be level, straight, and maybe this side down a little bit. Tilted, love it, love it. Now, that's a very different look to you, I'm sure, as you look at your golf ball, isn't it? Looks great. It'll help you pinch it. Yeah, perfect contact. You could hear it. And yes, it does look goofy. Yes, it does look like Tin Cup 2. It looks like all that. But you know what? It's just like the doctor putting a cast on your arms.
Right.
It's just like the dentist putting the retainer on your teeth. It works if you do it. If you're watching this tip, it shows me you're serious about getting better. If you're serious about getting better, do yourself a favor and make yourself like a little eyeline trainer.
And you may look funny, but hey, it's going to work. So thanks for joining us on Golf Channel Academy. For more great tips like this, make sure to watch School of Golf.
You know, one of the neatest things to see on TV and even be able to do in real life is to hit that ball towards the flag and watch it slow down or check up. When you're hitting a full shot, the basic physics of the game will allow you the fact that the ball is going to compress on the face and it's going to get some backspin. Now, it's not a very easy shot to hit, and if you're having problems with it, odds are you're probably doing one of two things. You're either trying to hit the ball up in the air and hit it a little high, which means that the ball really isn't rolling across the grooves and it's not putting much spin on it. Maybe your next suggestion was to try and hit down on it a little bit, but the problem is you hit it so far that way that it doesn't have time to slow down. An LPGA player once told me a cute little trick that was open the face and close the grip. At the setup, you're going to open the face of the club. That's going to engage the bounce. It's also going to make your swing go a little bit more inside instead of out. Now, here's the real secret. You're not closing the face, you're going to close the grip, which means your hands are actually going to roll coming through. So let's give this a try. We're going to take our regular setup, we're going to open the face, swing a little inside, and then close the grip. There's a ball that sets down on the green the way you like it. Open the face, close the grip, and you're going to find your ball stopping when you need it to.
Thanks for joining us on Golf Channel Academy. I'm Holly Saunders alongside your teacher Martin Hall. And here at Golf Channel, July is around the green month, Martin, so that 30 to 50 yard pitch is one of the toughest shots in the game. Do we have a drill to make it a little bit easier for everybody at home?
Well, I do. you know, one of the sacred cows in this game of golf is you must accelerate with your short game shots. And whilst there's some truth in that, what people end up doing oftentimes is horrendous, and it leads to them hitting a lot of bad 30 to 50 yard pitch shots because they go back at about 5 miles an hour and come in at about 30 and, you know, blade or chunk it, horrible. The arms and the club do accelerate, there's no doubt about that, but most people do better if they think the arms do this and only this. Just lay the club on your right leg like so, Holly. Lift your arms to about shoulder height. Now I'm going to ask you to just let your arms fall dead weight out of the sky, just a free fall. Your arms will pick up speed there, they are accelerating when you do that, and you shouldn't feel that your arms do much more than that in a pitch shot. Now, obviously you're turning and that gives them a bit more acceleration, but in terms of what you feel, what the golfer should feel as you're doing it, it's a gravity, dead weight, free fall drop. So, let's do one little drill here. Go to the top of your swing and stay there.
Full swing or just
a pitch shot, we're just hitting a 30. Now, I want you to totally relax your arms, so I am holding the club, not you, no, like so. Now, your arms are ready to fall, so when I let go here, your arms should fall. That's as much as I want you to feel you're putting in. One more time. Back we go. I'm holding your arms up. The moment I let go, your arms should fall. That's exactly what I want you to try and do. And of course, you'll keep turning. Sure. So, you know, whether it's mum, dad, girlfriend, wife, sister, whatever, that would be a good little drill for people to do at home. So up we go. Let the arms drop as you turn through. And that will give you, as that did there, a beautiful soft shot. So acceleration is important, but over-acceleration is probably worse than deceleration. Gravity arm drop with a bit of rotation, you're beating some nice soft lob shots. There you go. Awesome. I liked it. Should do that more often.
Yes, thank you for joining us on Golf Channel Academy for the very best in golf instruction. I'm Holly Saunders, and for some more great tips from your teacher, Martin Hall, tune into School of Golf every Wednesday night with us at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
So what is this? I mean, you see players all the time doing this. We even used to talk to Jack about his club toss 101, which is as he walked up to the ball, as he walked up, he'd toss the club up. Okay, so what is that all about? Well, the first skill, or one of the first skills we have to learn, is what's called this pivoting of the club. So if you watch this, I mean, I can sit here and just swing this thing around me on both sides. You see how relaxed my wrists are and how the club is pivoting. Okay, so now the first time you do this, wear a helmet, because a lot of you are going to hit yourself with it because you don't control this pivoting action. You don't let the weight of the club swing, so you have no feel for the weight of the club. Everything's too tight. Your wrists are too tight, your hands are too tight. So we get this going. Now, that plays into this pivoting action right here. So this is the other little skill. So you're making a pivot, and if you watch this handle, it comes down, so it comes down, then it gets right about here and it slows down, the club head speeds up, and the handle slows down, the club goes past, and then this speeds up again. That's a pivot, that's a lever. Now that pivot happens right here off your right leg. Everybody who's trying to hold it until they get way up here and then make it go, you're fighting the momentum of the club. Now left hand's the same thing. Watch how this club's pivoting. Now, if I come up here to the ball and I just create that pivoting action with my right hand, I can set up and just create that pivot and I can hit the ball. I mean, that went about 100 yards in the air. So you've got to learn this pivoting action. And when you watch tour players, like I say, you see them and they're constantly playing around with the club. See, this is loosening my wrists and this is helping me feel how that club pivots. Now, there's no tension in my body, there's no tension in my arms. You know, and I know this looks kind of funny. What would that have to do with a golf swing? Well, this is about momentum and about allowing your hands and wrists and the pivoting action to react to the momentum of the club. So just practice the pivoting of the club right here. Practice it with your left. Put both hands together and just hit some real easy shots where you allow the club to pivot. So again, all I'm really doing is I'm just letting the club pivot, and then my body's going to move along with it. So with very, very little effort, if you use that lever and that pivot, you can create a tremendous amount of club head speed without a lot of hand and arm speed. Now, if you try to pull the club or hit it this way, you're going to struggle big time ever creating any speed. So before you start adding body motion, you have to start to feel how this club pivots. And you got to feel this motion. So then when you add body motion and you get pivot at the right time, now you've got a lot of speed.
Hayden Porteous, don't forget, he won the Joburg Open just a couple of weeks ago, Charlie. He secured a place in the Open Championship as a result. But here he is at the fourth hole. His third shot, it's down in the water, and he chooses to undress.
Here, hold this a second.
No, Charlie,
No,
please,
no,
please,
no,
please,
no,
please,
no,
please
no,
look,
no.
keep it on. The mic wire won't work. Right? Yeah, keep it on.
I tried. You know, but by and large, when I see folks that don't actually practice this from time to time, go in and try and play a shot out of the water, you don't get good results. I mean, you have the Bill Haas winning the FedEx Cup and the Tour Championship, all of that. But most of the time, what you see is they get in there and they flinch. They don't commit to the shot and see through the shot. Go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to send water everywhere, because you got to have a lot of speed to play the shot. So if you decide to do this, the deeper the ball is down in the water, the more square you want to get the club face. That'll actually let the club face dig a little bit and get down in the water. But never try it unless just at least a little bit of the ball is above the surface of the water. But the key is you got to commit to it.
You think the fact that he's taken his shirt off means he's going to commit.
Yeah, I would have put rain pants on, though. I would have covered up my nice slacks so I don't have mud all over them. But
should we just roll it?
Roll
Find
it, yeah.
ourselves what happened? He's trying.
Yeah.
Just didn't quite. I think, you know, he just didn't have enough speed there. The very end, I think he just might have flinched just a little bit. And that ball was down pretty good ways as well.
It was. And he got lucky by the wires. I mean, that's the other thing you got to look at it. What's my risk? What's my reward? What's the percentages there? If I hit a good shot, I get it on the green, maybe I can get it up and down, or can I get it up and down? If not, you take a drop. It looks like a pretty simple chip. You just chip it on the green and take your one-stroke penalty.
In general, I don't recommend trying this.
Right.
You don't. It makes sense, and it tends to pull
work.
these off. But you'd think in a round of golf, you'd have one shot like that. Well, fast forward 5 holes, and here he is at the 9th hole, guys. He's in a very similar situation, chosen to keep the shirt on this time. Is it going to pay off?
I don't think this ball was actually down in the water. This might have been in the muck a little bit, and I think the reason we saw him get his shoes off is so he could get his feet in there, and where his feet are, there's enough water that will get in and get in your shoes. But this is one that still he had to go down after, and you can see, go ahead and roll it. He had to get pretty steep with it, pops up in the air, and it's not going to have much spin on it. It was sitting down enough to where it came out just sort of like a plugged bunker lie. But and he got lucky there. I mean, it was a decent shot, but he did get lucky in hitting the flag.
It was a good and a bad break, because if it doesn't hit the pin, it probably runs by 15 feet, and it could have gone easily in the hole, too. So it worked out. The one thing I would tell him from watching these 2 shots, hit more club. He's short on both shots. Hit one more club each time, and he's got a putt for birdie.
Good advice right there. And no need to take the shirt off, guys. You know, keep the shirt on. The shot works out.
No.
Let's keep it on.
Keep it on. Charlie, no.
Your thoughts and your method when it comes down to putting.
Yeah, I mean, you know, first thing is just read the putt. Really try and get a good feel. You know, I like to get behind it and, you know, take a look at it. You know, this putt's not going to do very much. So I want to get my line down. And then, you know, putting to me is all about speed. You know, when you got your speed down, you can make putts. The cup is this big when the speed's down. When the speed's bad, the cup's like a thimble. So, you know, I just want to get up and get relaxed. You know, tension is the worst thing in golf, and putting is no exception. So I just want to get over it, get my line, get nice and relaxed. And I do like to take some practice strokes and try and mimic what I'm going to do in the stroke. Think, okay, I want to hit it about that hard. And, you know, grip pressure I think is important. I try and keep it light and constant. You know, on a longer putt, it may be a little tighter, hold on the putter, but I want light grip pressure. And I want to take some looks at the putt. I look at the line, and to me it's really important. I like to see the line that's going to roll down. So I'm looking down the line, see the line that's going to roll down, take a look at the hole, and when I come back, I don't want to pause because I'll lose where the cup is, and then I want to get in the hole. So when you come from the cup back to your ball, you don't want to stay there long because you'll lose where the cup is. You know, it's like if you're going to shoot a free throw, you're not going to look away and then come back to. You want to keep the proximity where the hole is.
And maybe you didn't have any tension and you were all relaxed. You said tension's a killer in golf.
Hey, let's talk about power, can we?
Let's talk about power. Everyone wants more power, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Blair O'Neill. This is Golf Channel's Performance Series. Joining me is Trevor Anderson, Mike Lane, and we are going to show you how to get more power out of your golf swing.
I mean, power is what everybody wants. Mike, do you want more power in your golf swing?
Absolutely.
Blair, could you use some?
Everyone could use more power.
Everybody can use more power. But with great power comes what? Great responsibility. So we're going to teach you how to not only be powerful in your golf swing, but also make sure that you're grounded and stable every single time you swing that golf club, okay? Can we do that?
Let's do it.
All right, so the first exercise we're going to do is with our TRX Rip Trainer. So we have a hard stick here with an elastic band that provides a variable resistance. Now we must manage that elastic resistance as we rotate, okay? We're going to start with our feet together, step out, and attack into an impact position and be able to hold a stability on that front side. You see that? See how that resembles our impact position in our golf swing? Let's see you guys do that. Step out and attack. Nice. We always want to lead with the hips. Good. Step out, attack, and hold. One more time, attack, and hold. Awesome job. The reason why we want to step, we want to be able to attack that sequence, okay? As we attack our front side, it gives us the ability to understand how to be on our front side. So now that we've understood how to initiate a sequence, let's start with our feet as if we're on the first tee box now. So we're going to start in this position, and as I attack my front side, same position. Hip first. Look, I'm working from low to high, as if I came through transition, changed direction. I'm working from low to high to an impact position. Let's see that, guys.
Right.
Ready?
Low
Let's go.
to high.
Low to high. How do you feel when you attack your front side there?
I feel it working.
That's right. Now, let's get super dynamic with it, okay? As we get dynamic with it, what I want to do is I want to jump and get real dynamic like a slap shot. Attack. Let's give me a few of those, guys. Get super dynamic. Get super dynamic. Attack. This is practice. This is not the first tee box. Attack. If you want more power in your golf swing and you want the ability to hit the ball further, stay more connected to the ground, and maintain that power that you're generating, do these exercises and your distance will get better every day.
I'm Blair O'Neill, and this is Golf Channel's Performance Series. Joining me is Trevor Anderson, Mike Lane, and we're going to take you through a few exercises to help you with your stability and your balance in your golf swing.
That's right. We know stability and balance are critical elements of the golf swing.
Very.
But understanding where that balance comes from is the key. So what we're going to start off with is our rip trainer, which is a hard stick with an elastic band on one side. Not only are we going to use it to create rotation, but also to, more importantly, resist rotation so that we can decelerate and slow down the golf swing to finish in balance. So we're going to start with the arms extended, and we're going to start walking out. As you walk away, what you'll notice is that the resistance starts to pick up, demanding more of your balance, more of your resistance, and more of your control. It's challenging, right? So Blair, when you walk out, does it get a little more challenging as you get to extension?
Yes, it definitely does. You have to keep your core engaged to keep this bar stable. That's just the important key. So I feel myself getting stronger.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Better every day. So what we want to do now is we want to take ourselves to the next level. Let's walk out just a short bit away. We're going to squat down into a full squat position. We're going to come up, chest press out, and we're going to use that sequence to be powerful from the ground up. Back down, drive up, and press, back down, drive up and press. Guys, do a couple more of those. Do you feel that, Blair?
I definitely do. I think it's, like you said, really important to keep your chest up. You don't want to be bending over. You got to keep that good, nice posture throughout the entire motion.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So now, finally, I'm going to give you guys a challenge. All right? You ready for a challenge?
Let's do it. I'm up for a challenge.
We're going to take it to a single leg balance. You know, single leg balance is so important and critical for your overall posture and overall golf swing as it relates to finishing. If you don't have good single leg balance on your front side, your body won't attack it with full speed. So now, we're going to walk out about halfway, just like we did with the chest press. Bring it to extension. The leg that's on the floor, closest to the band, keep it on the floor. Bring the opposite knee up. And now let's turn that into a chest press.
Ooh. I feel it working.
Yeah, find your balance. What has to engage for you to stay balanced, Blair?
The leg that's down, my right leg, my hamstrings have to be engaged, my quads have to be engaged.
Exactly. What else needs to be connected, Mike? Your arms to your core. Absolutely. These are types of exercises that you can do to help you work on dynamic stability to not only hit the ball further, but be more consistent and help you get better every day with your golf game.
Younger Champions Tour players have to work out to stay in shape, especially in the off season, especially at the beginning of the year. And these are just a couple of things that I've worked on in the off season. I work on all the time. And one is getting in this position, this posture, and just kind of leaning over to the right, stretching this side right here, which is very, very important. And I do both. I go to the other side. You can feel it in your hips. You can also feel it in your side, which is important. So these are a couple things that I do. Also, you know, with this little ball here, you know, core is important. Core is very important. So, you know, you can do a combination of different techniques with your core. Make sure that your back here is flat to the mat. You don't want to have any bow in it. You know, so you can do this. Other things you do is you go like this. This is another great exercise. Also, you can do a couple of these. Put this ball between your legs and do some pull-ups, and then also stretching the lower back. This feels really good. You can use a medicine ball that's 5 pounds, 7 pounds.
I mean, I feel like I've played, you know, really, really good the last 3 days. I've really hit the ball well. I feel like I'm putting it well too. It's just not really, it's not going in the hole. I did make, you know, on the first 3 holes today, I made more feet of putts than I think I made combined in the 3 rounds total. So that was a nice start to the day. And then, you know, but I still missed quite a few very short ones for birdie.
It was okay. I felt like I couldn't get into any sort of rhythm out there. You know, I didn't get off to the greatest of starts. Felt like I sort of got it going a little bit around the turn, but then it was hard to get any sort of rhythm then because, you know, Phil was sort of here, there, and everywhere. So I was waiting a lot, and it probably shouldn't have affected me, but it did a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was tough to really get anything going. I was trying to make a few coming in. I just, you know, put myself in decent positions too. I just didn't. So, you know, I need to go out tomorrow, start fast, get off to an aggressive start, and hopefully catch the guys up, you know, by the 9th. And, you know, it looks like it'll be a good shootout tomorrow anyway. So.
Break it down for the viewer at home. Just how big an assistance are these green reading books to the pros?
Well, they are an assistance. There's no doubt they are, just like a regular yardage book. It's information that the players are using. But when you look at some of these books and the detailed information in them, if people have never seen them, this is what the books can look like. This is a Strackline book, and it gives you the degree of slope. Now, you see that with your eyes, but this kind of quantifies it in a way that 7.5 is obviously a lot more than 2.2. Or 1.4, that's where it's a pretty flat area. They generally put the hole locations in these areas next to the slope areas. But what Strackline does as well to help the players is each morning they will go where the hole location is and add that in, and there is this detailed information. The players can get them customized to how they want, and what it shows here is these 3 lines show that it's downhill, and from this area, that putt is not going to break outside the hole. Same thing there. Ideally, this is where you would want to putt from. So when you're hitting your approach shot, you would put it in here, and you know if you're in this area that that putt's not going to break outside the hole. So that's the kind of detailed information that the players are seeing. But in my opinion, this is a useful tool just like a yardage book. I can have all this information in the world. I still got to hit the putt on the line. So I think they're overreaching a little bit, not looking at some of the other fundamental things like I mentioned yesterday, lining up your golf ball, either using the label from the golf ball manufacturer or putting a line on it. That's much more assistant than this. This is just giving you the information. So I certainly think that the RNA is looking in the wrong area. The one thing these books can do that is a detriment is slow the game down a little bit. But other than that, I think it's just information, and information's a good thing. It doesn't take away from the skill. You still got to hit the shots and hit the putts the right speed and the right line.
And it seems odd that they're going to be testing distance measuring devices on the Web Tour and some of the other tours, yet they're looking into this. Exactly. Kind of go in both directions.
Exactly.
Guys, let's start with this. What is the detailed material that they're referring to?
Well, Tripp, you can probably answer that a little bit better, but these yardage books have become so sophisticated, Ryan, that they show just about every inch of break on every part of the green, and the USGA according to a source I talked to today, is really concerned about the de-skilling of the art of reading putts. Now, I talked to a veteran caddy today, and he said, yeah, okay, takes away from the skill of the game a little bit, but at the same time, you got to deal with the pressure. You still got to make the putt. There's all kinds of elements to it. And the kicker was kind of funny. He said, so what are you going to do? You're going to show up on the first tee at a golf tournament. There's going to be a USGA official there checking your yardage book to make sure that it conforms to their system of conforming.
Yeah, and these books are so detailed that they put exactly where the hole location is, and it shows the area gradient of slope around the holes. And a lot of players have these detailed even for the practice rounds as well. But the thing about it is, and I think this is a little bit misplaced focus, if you will. Sure, you get those details. You have the ability to see the slope, but you can see that with your own eyes. It's just verifying it with factual evidence, just like a yardage book is. So, I mean, they didn't stop yardage books from coming into play, and there's detailed information there. I think they should be more concerned about the line on the ball, because you still have to hit the stroke. You have to make the stroke and hit it on a line, the line that you read, and then you have to hit it with the correct speed, and you have to manage your nerves and all the other things. I think the fundamental of lining a ball up, putting a line down, an alignment aid is much more of decreasing your ability or helping you as far as a player in putting. So I think that's one area that they really need to look at, because they're addressing it purportedly in 2019 with taking the caddy lining players up out of changing that rule. So I definitely think the yardage books, if they slow down play, I agree. And that should be an issue, because we should be focusing on speeding up play, not slowing it down. And these books do tend to do that. But really, the USGA and RNA focus on the alignment aid that you're allowing players to use.
Interesting way to look at it.
George, how's Sergio feeling coming off that tied for 30th showing? Not his best final round, but a lot of excitement.
Yeah, Lisa, it was kind of a mixed bag, like you touched on. Sergio was 4 over through 15 holes. His first round goes birdie, hole-in-one to finish things out. A 71 on Friday, 67 on Saturday. So he had a 39-hole stretch where he was 9 under par, and then Sunday he shoots a 78. So he was aware that he was kind of exhausted after all the prep and a little overwhelmed with his first tournament back at the Players. So you wonder, I asked him, with the Players under his belt, what does he need to do to refocus after having all that time off to celebrate, to defend his title at this week's Byron Nelson with an eye towards the rest of the major season in 2017?
It's something that that I need to get going on that. Last week, obviously at the Players, I had a couple nice rounds and a couple not so nice rounds, but it's been very overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. It's been amazing to see the reaction from the people and the players and everyone. It's obviously been something amazing to go through, but by the same time, I have to kind of move on. As nice as it is to be the Masters champion, I need to keep doing things. I need to keep improving on every aspect of my game, and focus on the week that we are right now, because it's easy to start thinking and about what happened a month ago and things like that. So we have to get going, get back into where we were there, and make sure that we get some good confidence. I did some really good things last week, but I also did some things that weren't that great. So I need to make sure I clean that up and have a solid stretch here in Texas.
Yes, good morning. It is Monday, April 10th, and the day that Sergio Garcia wakes up as Masters champion, having finally broken through to his first major at Augusta National yesterday. Kyle Robinson, Gary Williams, Damon Hack, a man who has competed in 15 Masters tournaments, John Cook. Wow, that was some Sunday show, guys. John, it took Sergio 74 attempts to break through. He is now a major champion. You've experienced the chase for one of golf's big four. What was it like to see Sergio achieve a career-long goal yesterday?
Yeah, 74 starts, first major. He played himself off a list that's you have to have done something to be on this list, and it's very difficult to get off that list. It's not a list you really want to be on. You know, best player not to have won a major. But he played it off in style with grace and couldn't be happier, really. He deserves it. It's a deserving champion, and the way he did it, punch, counter punch with Rosie, just a great performance.
Remarkable. You were there all week long. What was the atmosphere like surrounding someone that everyone knew had been trying to do this for so long?
You know, I think, Cara, that's one of the great takeaways that I have from the week. He got wonderful support, and you know how everybody is at Augusta National. All the patrons are very respectful of all the players, but for them to be chanting his name on that green is something I never anticipated or thought would occur for a number of reasons. Primarily that they were chanting it after he would have won a green jacket, Damon.
The whole thing is improbable. Conventional wisdom told us that Sergio Garcia would not win a major championship, and if conventional wisdom was wrong, Sergio Garcia would not win a green jacket at Augusta National. The scar tissue was supposed to be too deep, the burden's too big to overcome. That he dug deep on that golf course and beat that field and those players, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, you name them all, Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose,
Adam Scott, and go on and on and on.
And another thing, too, Sergio Garcia will be hosting the Champions Dinner next year. He will be going to Augusta National for the rest of his life.
Yes.
It is absolutely remarkable.
Amazing, as he said. I get to call myself Masters champion. It's amazing. Redemption is the word that I felt watching all of this unfold. We mentioned it, the 74 starts. In that time, he has had 22 top 10 finishes in majors. 12 of those are top fives. 4 of those are runner-ups. This is a guy that has come so close so many times, perhaps a long way, did make it all the more sweeter. You know, there's often a conversation about Europe and America, and really, whilst this was a huge victory for Spain yesterday, there is no denying that. There was a lot of sentimentality about it. This was actually about seeing one of the greatest golfers of his generation rewarded on the biggest stage, and you could feel that from the patrons' unwavering support yesterday. Gary, you mentioned it. They understood the journey that he's been on, and the bigger story that this is. To hear them, an American crowd chanting his name on the 18th green was phenomenal. And psychologically as well, guys, it was a different Garcia to who we had become accustomed to watching. And I'm fascinated to hear what Dr. Gio will say about what was a mental victory for a previously traveled player. I know he's going to join us in a minute, Damon, and there's so much to ask him about.
People love a comeback story. Sergio Garcia was little boy lost for the last several years, and people wanted to see him reach that pinnacle. He's had the love-hate relationship, you know, having problems with the crowd in New York in Bethpage. Another thing I think is interesting, you mentioned his resume. When David Duval won his first major championship and only major championship in 2001, he said all of those battle scars suddenly become badges of honor. Now we're going to look at Sergio's record and say, wait, 22 top 10 in major championships, 4 runner-up finishes. Now it's going to be you're a Masters champion and a Players champion, and you've also been in the thick the heat of battle all of those times. So now all of those things that we used to see as shortcomings, and Duval said it beautifully then, now they look like badges of honor. You were actually in the thick of it. You were in the heat of the fight.
Yeah, just, the scar tissue and all those experiences. We've always said it, you know, experiences, whether they're good or bad, are experiences, and you draw on those. And Sergio, I'm sure at some point yesterday was going, oh, here we go, or no. He battled, he dug down deep to do it, and yeah, it was just a great drama, great theater yesterday. At
times that we would have otherwise seen him say, here we go again. Like when his tee ball on the 13 ended up in the Pine Needles, he dealt with these situations incredibly well. Does a victory like this, John, give hope to some of those names that are still on that list of best players without a major?
Well, it depends on your age, obviously, like a Lee Westwood. No, maybe. You never know about that. But I think the younger guys that are not on that list, I think it does give them, you know, great hope. And it depends on where it is, where those major championships are. But yeah, absolutely, the Matt Kuchars of the world, certainly. You had to be paying attention.
You know what, and the word I would use is finally. I'm sure for him in his own mind, he's saying finally. And I think for a long time, many of us thought that he felt he was owed something The game doesn't owe you anything. You have to earn it. And the manner in which he earned that victory yesterday, I know is going to make him proud for the balance of his life.
Sergio, when that putt went in on the first playoff hole, you gave out a joyful scream. When the jacket was placed over your shoulders, you had a smile ear to ear. Describe the emotions that you have now as a major champion.
Right now, to tell you the truth, I'm tired. I wanna get in bed and relax, but take a nice shower first and then get in bed. But right then, it was definitely very exciting. I am excited right now, but it's kind of starting to slow down a little bit. But I'm very proud of not only myself but my whole team and everyone around me that has put so much work into making me become what I've become.
We've talked this week about you coming to Augusta this year with a more positive attitude, one of more acceptance on the golf course. How did you evolve into that persona this year?
Well, it's quite simple. I think when you have good people around you and they're telling you a couple of things that you need to get better at, and you know they're telling you from the bottom of the heart, you listen, and that's what we did. I'm going to be totally honest. I didn't think that the change will be that I will be able to change this quickly or feel this way this quickly, but I'm glad I did, and you know, it turned out to be an amazing week in a place where I love, but you know, I've had some tough times around, and to be able to deal with some of those emotions throughout the whole week and accept the good things and the bad things and move on and keep going. It was something that it definitely, you know, gives me a sense of extra proudness, if you may say.
It sounds like it's a case of the people that are close to you told you more what you needed to hear than what you wanted to hear about attitude. Am I wrong there?
No, they've always have, and that's the great thing. That's what I've always said. You know, I'm surrounded by really good people that they tell me the things the way they are, even if it's not what I want to hear at that time. But you know, that's the beautiful thing about having good friends, having a great family, having, you know, a great family to come, and you know, all those things mixed together, they make out for a great cocktail.
You've been working 2 decades to be a major champion, and I'm sure this is not the only one you want to win. As you move forward in your major championship career, do you feel now a little lighter that you have finally that first major championship and maybe the burden is off your back?
I don't know. To be totally honest, it's just happened. It doesn't mean that they always say that the first one is the toughest, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stand on the first tee at Erin Hills and it's going to be easy. So that's not the game of golf. But I'm definitely very happy about it. I'm going to enjoy every moment of it, and I'm going to get there to Erin Hills with the same attitude. I'm going to play my hardest out there, and you know, hopefully we'll be able to add some on.
Finally, you've been very open and you've spoken eloquently about your idols, Seve Ballesteros, who turned 60 today, and Jose Maria Olazabal, who we spoke to this morning, and he spoke lovingly of you. What does it mean to you to now join those 2 idols of yours as a Masters champion from Spain?
It's amazing. It's something that I always hoped that I could be able to achieve, but I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. It's something that it gives me it's such an honor to start with, to be in the same group, not only with the two best Spanish golfers we've had in our history, but also my two golfing idols. So to be able to call myself a Masters champion as they do, and see Jose Maria next year on the Champions locker room, and maybe even share lockers with him and have lunch with him up there and things like that. It's I wish that Seve was here so we could do it too, but you know, at least to be able to do it with Jose is going to be unbelievable.
Sergio, congratulations. Well earned.
Thank you.
Rick Shields down here at Quest Golf Studio here in Lytham, and we're going to discuss the differences between a hybrid and a long iron, because there are differences between the two. Some players prefer one, some players prefer the other, and hopefully we're going to answer some questions around these two golf clubs and which one suits your game better. I've got both these two golf clubs in the same loft, so both 22 degrees, so the 4-iron or the 4-iron alternative with the hybrids. We should see some relatively similar results, but played in very different ways. The big thing that separates the two is the forgiveness level and the speed that is required to make the shot successful. So if I start off with the long iron first, this is 22 degrees, so a 4-iron in my books. Not much club head behind the ball, as you would expect from an iron, and because of that, the low loft, you need speed. Speed is crucial to hit a long iron successful when there's not a lot of help at the back of the head, unless you go super oversized or you go into more of a hybrid. There's often not much help behind the club head. So when you face them with little loft, to get the ball airborne, to get it to travel the way you want it to travel, speed is crucial. Now when I talk about speed and what type of speed is crucial, it can depend on the club or the way that the loft changes or whatever that may be. But I would normally say high 90 miles per hour club head speeds, if not getting into 100 miles per hour speeds with a long iron. So that's kind of speed that we'd be looking at to be most successful with a long iron, certainly with very low loft. A hybrid, on the other hand, you've got more help. You've got a centre of gravity that's further back. Even though we've got the same loft, with that extra centre of gravity and more mass behind the ball, the club head speed isn't quite as crucial. You don't need as much. Typically with a hybrid, the ball flight is much higher because of that centre of gravity being pulled back, and much lower because it's got the space to do so. And because it's got a bigger, wider sole, generally much more forgiving. Let's talk about the differences of how we hit these two golf clubs. I'm going to start off with the 4-iron first. So with an iron, and because we've got low loft, again we need speed and we need to impart a very slight downward blow. So we need the club head moving into the ball with a very slight downward hit. Not too much to take a massive divot or too much grass or too much turf. Unless you've got tremendous club head speed, then you might be able to do so. But typically with a 4-iron, we want to hit with a very slight downward hit, but also a very clean hit. So making sure we're not hitting too much of the surface. The best way to achieve that, if we go with the 4-iron here, I'm going to place the ball position just underneath my left pec, so in front of centre. I'm then going to aim to get my sternum more over the top of the club head. That way then when I come into the shot, I'm going to hit less down than what I would do on a 7-iron or an 8-iron, but I'm still going to hit down, but really aim to catch the ball clean. I'm really aiming not to hit too much floor at all here. And this can be done. A downward blow can happen where the ground almost just gets kissed, almost brushed as it's making contact. Very little ground contact indeed. So ball underneath my left pec, my sternum's over the top of that club head. And I'm going to aim to hit slightly down, but also catch it very, very clean. And there's hardly, it's a nice shot, hardly any contact with the ground whatsoever then. It was, you could almost not, you could only hear the ball. Let me hit that shot again. So, ball underneath my left pec, sternum over the top of the club head. I'm going to aim to catch it slightly on the down hit, but very, very clean. Bit left that time. And to some players, when they catch it that clean, they may almost give it the impression that it's a bit thin. Almost like they've caught it off the bottom groove at first. But I tell you what, an iron shot, long iron shot hit off the bottom groove will still perform pretty well. It'll still work for you. You'll still get it out there. Not quite possibly the desired distance, but you'll still hit it well enough. So moving into a hybrid or a rescue or whatever we want to call these things. A great addition. Came out maybe 20 years ago. Fantastic addition because, again, it eliminates the idea that you need loads of clubhead speed for a long iron. This now you don't need so much. Typically, weight is further back and lower. You get a much higher ball flight, even when the loft is the same. Now, the benefit of a hybrid is it can be hit in a downward manner and clean, exactly like the iron, and it can be hit in a more level / upward manner. And the reason why that is because it's got a much wider sole on the bottom. If we do catch this on the way up, and granted we might catch the ground just behind the ball, the actual contact won't be that bad because the bottom of the club can save us. It's not going to dig into the surface. It's going to glide along the surface and then make good contact with the ball. So it gives us so much more forgiveness. It gives us so much more room for error, margin for error. So I'm still going to go with the same setup. Ball position underneath my left pec. Now my sternum this time, I'm not going to massively get over the club head. I'm going to sit my sternum slightly behind the club head. Because again, this time, it doesn't really matter if I hit level through the ball or slightly on the upward hit like we would do with a 5-wood or a 3-wood or moving into our driver. It's not the end of the world because there's that extra bit of bumper at the bottom of the club to help us this time. So, sternum ball position just underneath my left pec. I'm going to catch this clean still, but slightly more on a level to upward hitting manner. And you can see there the ball flight is ridiculously higher. That is the same loft. It's a 22-degree golf club, exactly the same as the iron, but the height there, how many yards was it higher? Can I say it quick? 16 yards? 16 higher. I think that's 16 feet higher. Let's go one more. Ball here, it can't be 16 yards, 16 feet. Ball underneath the left pec. I'm going to catch this clean to slightly on the way up. And if I was to hit the floor, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It wouldn't be the end of the world. It's another nice shot. Let me just see what that actual measurement was. As you can see, there's hardly any difference at all in distance. Oh, it is yards, sorry, it is yards. So yeah, 16 yards higher up in the air. There's almost no difference in distance, just the difference was the height. The ball flight was, you know, that's what we saw that was different. And with the hybrid, you typically get a little bit more forgiveness if you do hit the ground first. My own personal preference, the hybrid for me is not versatile enough. I can't hit a hybrid low, for example. I can only really hit it up in the air, and sometimes that's not always the shot. With an iron, I can manipulate it in a way where I can hit it higher and I can hit it lower on demand. Hybrid, it's just a little bit one-dimensional, but still, for most golfers, that is exactly what they want it for. Height, ease of hit, and to replace a long iron. But if you've got enough speed coming into the ball, like I say, I want to say high 90s, going into 100 miles per hour, a long iron can definitely suit you better. Guys, hopefully that's answered lots of your questions between a hybrid and a long iron.
SB2K17.
Yeah.
Is it happening?
It is happening. It's on. It's Spring Break 2. It's not at your theaters near you, but all over social media. We'll be getting Instagram, every form from Snapchat right on through. And it's interesting to me to see this group. They're bringing the band back. Smiley, Jordan, Ricky, who's my fourth here?
Justin Thomas.
Justin Thomas, thank you. And you know, this is the scene. See if they do any more of this porch jumping from Seth Waugh's house into the pool here. That looks semi-dangerous, but not really. I mean, this is what kids do, right? And it's interesting to me after a way to blow off steam, especially after that final round pairing of Ricky and Jordan didn't play itself out. Both of them shooting 75 and 76 respectively. And so it's time to maybe kind of put that in the rear view and go do what young men their age do, which is have a good time, party, relax, and with the world watching, though, in this case.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for them to bounce back from that tricky Sunday. The big question is anyone else joining? I know Rory McIlroy wanted in last year, but he turned down the invitation for a holiday with Erica. He's probably getting married this year.
I don't think he's going to be going down there, or Sergio either, with too many weddings coming up.
Yeah, there are a lot of weddings this year. Well, it will be fun to watch on social media again. Rosie, thank you for your insight.
Thanks, Car.
As always.
Great being with you.
I'm Martin Hall. You're watching School of Golf Extra Credit. Today, ball striking. That's code for hitting it right in the middle of the club, that lovely sweet feel. Now, I believe every player has a miss-hit tendency. You either tend to hit it off the toe, you tend to hit it off the heel. You tend to hit it a bit high on the face, which is fat, you tend to hit it a bit thin. I'm going to give you one drill to cure each. Okay, let's get going, and let's say you are a toe hitter. A toe hitter. That is me. A toe hitter means that on the downswing, inadvertently, you somehow shrink the orbit of the golf swing. So the club comes in too close to your feet. What's the best drill I know to do that, to fix it? Put two balls, as I've done here, address an inside ball, and then as you swing, reach out to hit the far ball. Now, you may not hit the ball solid. That's not the point. But you will get in the feeling of reaching a bit more for it. That will absolutely cure that toed shot. Guess what? If you're a heel hitter, I'm going to give you the absolute polar opposite medicine. If you're a heel hitter, it means you're someone who stretches too much when you hit the ball. Well, I'm going to take that away from you. I'm going to make you shrink your orbit on the downswing. Here we go. This time I'm going to start on the outside ball, and as you come down, you've got to hit the inside ball. Now, truthfully, this is a little easier to hit the ball in the middle of the club. So start on the outside ball and hit the inside ball. Now, the only reason the simulator didn't work there is because I'd got too much clutter down there. What if you are a fat hitter, someone who takes great big, dirty, deep, rotten divots? Here's a drill for you. Take the most lofted wood you've got. I've got a rescue club here, it's a 21 degree actually, and stick it on a very high tee. Nothing to do with how you'd hit a rescue club, but if you take a shallow face club and put it on a very high tee, you're going to have to sweep this away. You can't chop down at this. You might even want to try and leave that tee in the ground actually. So this is a great way to practice if you want to get rid of the fat shot. That leaves us with one shot. And that's if you're hitting the ball thin. It probably means when you're hitting the ball thin, you're not quite hitting down enough into the ground. Very simple drill. Each one of these drills, nice and simple. I've taken a towel. I'm going to put it just a little bit behind the ball, a few inches behind the ball, probably 3 inches behind the ball, and I'm going to make sure I hit down into the ground, but without hitting the towel. So I've got to go down into the ground without hitting the towel. Here we go. And that's going to get me down into the ground and get rid of that thin shot. So 4 drills to get rid of miss-hits off the toe, miss-hits off the heel, miss-hits fat, miss-hits thin. You've got one of them and you know which one it is, so take the right medicine.
show us your swing with this 3-wood. Henrik, I mean, certainly, you know, there have been times, like all golfers, where we struggle with the driver. So taking a golf club that you have confidence in.
You had to mention that as well. No, absolutely. I mean, that was one part of it as well. But even before ups and downs, it's always been like my favorite club off the tee. But certainly when I was struggling with my driving, it's definitely easier to go to a 3-wood.
You said the loft on that is right around 13, 12 and a half?
Yeah. So it's a strong 3-wood.
So you're not giving up a lot of distance with the strong.
And I think if I'm not misinformed as well, the trampoline effect on the 3-woods is not as regulated as on the drivers too. So I mean, you can get a hot 3-wood that would make up even more on the gap. And yeah, like I said, I'll probably hit it about 290 off the tee, something like that. It's not going to be on this swing though at 7 in the morning. I've still got a few tournaments to play, so we better keep the back in shape.
So when you're trying to hit your 3-wood, are you trying to take what the golf course gives you? Are you hitting draws and fades? Or are you predominantly going with one shot that you're comfortable with?
Mainly one shape, and that's kind of, if I'm swinging okay. I have a lot of not much side spin to the shots, but if anything, a slight draw, I would say, and that's the shot to go to. And if I need to draw it more, that's one thing I feel even easier with the 3-wood. So.
And if you're going to try and draw it more for our viewers at home, what are you trying to do technically to try and draw the golf ball a little bit more?
Well, you could, I'd say you could fiddle around a little bit, but one thing would be to move the ball up a little bit, so you're actually catching it kind of just after the lowest point here, so you're almost getting it on the up or later on the arc, I should say.
Right. So if you're going to try and get a little bit more draw and a little bit more distance, you're going to move that up a little, which is the opposite of what most of our students think. Most of our students, to try and draw it, they're trying to move the golf ball back in their stance, and it really doesn't help them. So moving it a little bit more forward is just going to help you.
I hit it off the deck a lot of times, but I think for amateurs it would make sense to tee it up a little bit. You know, you don't need to start with the hardest thing, so you can tee it up a little bit, but just get it a little bit further up, so you're actually collecting it almost a little bit on the up there and later, which is gonna give you that.
And that also helps the golf club stay squarer through impact.
Oh my God!
Are you kidding me?
Did that just happen?
That shit just happened. That shit just happened.
Totally on video.
Oh,
oh.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, dude.
Back on the Golf Fix. So March is Practice with a Purpose month. We want to help you go out there, give you some thoughts that you can use that will assist you with practicing more efficiently. And we've got an email question that comes from George Petty, who's, by the way, on the Golf Channel Am Tour. He asks, I have trouble the closer I get to the green, specifically with chipping. I seem to always blade it across the green several times and end up putting off the green in frustration. Can you give me some good practice drills for chipping? Here's one very simple practice drill, and it's time to grip confidence. Grip. Golf pride. So what you're going to do is you're just going to, I use this little chipping thing I call the U. It's a little practice device that I have. But you can do this with alignment sticks or golf clubs. What I want you to do is I want you to let this club stay in this channel. So many times we're hitting it thin or fat because we're trying to lift it into the air. The club is off of the line. I want to make sure that the club is staying in this path, and we're very aware of the bottom of the arc. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to chip with your putting grip. So don't hold it like you were holding a golf club. You'll get a little bit too much play in your wrists. I want to stabilize those wrists by just holding it like it was a putter. And then when you come in here and you're hitting this chip shot, I want you to make sure that you're paying attention to keeping that weight distribution not moving at all. We're just going to set up into that lead leg. And then you're going to hit the chip just like that. So, set up, pick your target, and it comes in there. Now, it's not registering, obviously. Oh, well, I guess that did. Not bad. But that's what you want to do, and that's going to help you do much better when you get on the golf course. Practice that up.
Wilson. Hi, I'm Paul. I'm the creator of Swing Machine Golf and the director of the Paul Wilson Golf School at Bears Best Las Vegas. In this tip, I want to help you stop topping your 3-wood. So there's a lot of people out there that have that problem of topping their 3-wood when they go to play. So this is obviously going to cause a lot of problems because you got to think, when do you typically hit a 3-wood? Well, you typically hit a 3-wood to try and make up for a mistake, or you're trying to get to a par 5 in 2 shots. Okay, so let's say you've teed off and you hit a bad tee shot. Maybe you hit a tree, okay, that's only 50 or 100 yards off the tee. Now you've still got over 200 yards to the green. So what do? You take out your 3-wood to try and hit it onto that green that's way out there. Okay, that's one scenario. The next scenario is on a par 5. Okay, you've hit a pretty good tee shot and you've got about 200 something out, and now you're trying to hit a 3-wood as hard as you can to get it onto the green in 2 shots, or very close to the green in 2 shots. Both of those situations have you trying to hit your 3-wood as hard as you can. So what happens when you try to hit the ball, or your 3-wood, as hard as you can, is that your arms tighten when the golf club's coming down and through. So from right here, if your arms tighten, the muscles contract. If the muscles contract, they start to buckle. If the arms buckle, the grip on the golf club falls behind the club head. Okay, so they're in a situation where the grip is here. It's falling behind the club head. Now, typically, if you're trying to hit it as hard as you can with your arms, you're not using your body. So what also happens is you get stuck on this back foot when you try to hit your shot. So that, too, adds to the problem. So here's what happens. So if we're here like this, and the grip, I'll just take the grip and move it behind the ball, or behind the club head. So if we move the grip behind the club head, this is what starts happening to our golf club. You can see that the sole of the golf club isn't even on the ground anymore. The club's coming in like this. Now if we couple that with hanging back on our back foot, now we've got an even worse problem. Now the club comes in like this, and you can see that there is no way that the leading edge of this golf club is going to get underneath the ball. So that is what causes the topped 3-wood shot. Okay, so ideally we need to be in a situation where we're letting our arms stretch out when we're hitting the ball. Okay, we need our arms stretching out fully after we've hit the shot. So that'll stop them obviously from buckling. So if their arms are stretching out, the grip is not going to fall behind the club head. Okay, we're not going to be in this situation. We're going to be here, stretching them out. Also, we want to try and use our body to hit the golf ball. So we want to feel our weight shift to the back leg in the backswing, and then our forward leg in the through swing. So if we can do those 2 things, here's what's going to happen. From right here, we're going to be coming in now with this angle, okay, like this, instead of like this. Okay, so when we start going this way, you can see the difference. So that is going to hit a top shot. This is going to create a perfect shot with the proper launch angle. Okay? So into the future, what I want you to do is be in a situation, or next time you find yourself in either one of those situations, okay? First thing we're going to be thinking of is we're going to swing easier, okay? We're going to swing around 50 to 80%, okay? Just by swinging easier, that'll stop the arms from being totally locked up and you trying to hit the golf ball as hard as you can. Remember, we need the club to stretch out, okay? If you buckle your arms, we're going to be in big trouble. So swing, do some practice swings at about 50 to 80%. Next thing we want to try and do is feel our weight shifting when we're hitting these shots. Okay, so into the backswing, we feel our weight load into the back leg, and then we're going to unload to the forward leg. We're not going to be sitting here going like this and hanging back. See, right there, I just topped it. Okay, so we don't want to be in this situation. We want to feel the weight load here and then end up on our forward leg after we've hit the shot. So you can do that in practice swings as well. So nice easy swings, feel the weight load, let the arms stretch out, and feel the weight unload to this side. If you can do that, then we're in a situation where we end up hitting perfect 3-woods. Okay? If you can do that, then you're going to make up for your mistakes, and you're going to be a lot closer to the green on par 5s. Hopefully you understand it. Give those things a try the next time you're out playing, and you'll see a huge difference. Make sure you ask your questions, post your comments below. I'll try to get to as many as I can.
Not too bad.
1 yard short.
1 yard short. Alright, not bad, not bad. Woo! Ah! Just short. Do it. Wow. Just grip it and rip it. That's all you gotta do. Well, this is easy too, so I'm gonna go further back. That was really bad. I faded it too much. Too far?
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Yeah.
On.
Boom. Golden.
Right.
Let's let this thing go.
Okay. Yeah, that's gotta be 6 feet.
6 feet?
Oh my god.
Yes. That's all I got too. That's perfect.
Now it's my pleasure to welcome to the show the birthday boy, Cameron McCormick. Jordan Spieth's coach, turned 42 on Saturday. Happy birthday, Cameron. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate you having me.
What a birthday you had, huh?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's one thing to have a birthday, celebrate with your family. It's another thing to get the gift that any golf coach, golf instructor could only dream for. So, yeah, it's been a fantastic weekend.
Obviously, the week started at Augusta National with the drive, chip, and putt on Sunday, and we got a chance to see some juniors do some things that we would only have hoped to do when we were their age. But you had the great fortune of really starting Jordan into the sport, and I know that there's a lot of people that are watching, parents and otherwise, that would like to know, what are some of the things that you think are important when you're just getting a junior started into the game?
Well, yeah, at the age that they're, let's say, experiencing golf for the first time, the enjoyment is what's most critical. So structuring experiences that provide for pleasurable, enjoyable experiences is what's most important, and that incubates an interest for that child to do more, and that germinates into skill development. So parents need to be providing love and support first, and for the environment of joy to be cultivated, most importantly.
Just make sure that the kids are having a good time. Don't necessarily get out there
Yeah.
and make them hold the club perfectly and all that stuff, correct?
Yeah, true. And then the second step would be putting them in touch with a person that can furthermore cultivate some skills. So that would be a coach that can not only speak the language of developing form when necessary, but also speak the language of experience on the golf course and teach a person how to play the game just as much as how to swing.
Well, certainly you guys are speaking the right language. When Jordan decided that he wanted to, maybe take the game to the next level, and I know he's always wanted to win the Masters, but what are the things that you did at the end of last year and going into this year? What are the things that you kind of focused on to get Jordan prepared for such an amazing season that he's off to here?
We didn't necessarily do anything different. We always have a blueprint that we work back towards when he, let's say, goes out on the road for a 3 or 4 week stretch. So I don't spend too much time out on the road. I'll go out there maybe in the third week of a 4 week stretch. So that helps me keep a pulse on what I call skill vitals and the form pattern he's producing. So really, for us, it's more about returning back to a blueprint and making sure that things don't get too far off track. And that's what really allows him to play great golf week in, week out, because things don't get too far off track. So last year, the biggest change or adaptation was just the psychology of being able to get over the hump and get that second win. So it was really a maturation that happened in Australia between he and Michael, a comfort and a relaxation and being in contention and not having to press so hard to get that second win.
It obviously was a relaxation that was critical for Jordan, not just over the weekend, but really, I mean, after you shoot 64 and you're in the lead the whole week, you have to be relaxed going into that. What was the preparation that you did going into Masters? Was it any different than what you would do in a normal week on the tour?
Yeah, it was actually, because he come off such a great stretch of play, winning, then finishing second, and playing in the final group. This week was actually about less rather than more. I think the expression that effort follows the law of diminishing returns. The more you do, it doesn't necessarily mean you get better results, and particularly this week. So we had to manage energy reserves. We also had to manage that he was playing great golf. And so we just chose to, he's and I, the expression that we share is trim the fat. So as best we could, test that he had the flights and the contact that he needed in ball striking, and test that he had the touch that he needed on and around the greens. And beyond that, it was just about relaxing and getting acquainted with the golf course again and the conditions of the golf course. So it really wasn't much.
How about his golf swing now? He hit the ball great, 75% of his greens. Scoring was crazy good. Just share with us some of the things that you think are keys for Jordan. I know his grip is maybe a little bit unconventional, the interlocking and sort of a weaker lead hand and a stronger right hand. Just share a little bit of what are some of the things that you think are critical for Jordan's success?
Yeah, so to say that they're critical for Jordan's success doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be critical for all the viewers' success. So recognizing that each person's swing is a unique blueprint, and relating back to the uniqueness of Jordan, I would say that largely what I've allowed to develop here is a prioritization of skills versus or skills over style. So my expression that I use is I let skills trump style. So yes, his grip and certain components of the swing may look a little unorthodox, but they're certainly effective. So back to the original question, what's most important for Jordan? He tends to regress back into a pattern of what we'll call hip sway in the backswing. So if you're looking at him from the face on, the box that you might put around his hips, he'll actually shift to the right side, to away from the target. And when he does that, he doesn't really get the club set really well at the top, and he is then predisposed to kind of a steep strike to the ball and can create some right misses. So what we were talking about this week was him being patient off the ball and getting a nice good load over his trail leg. And that doesn't mean necessarily he had to shift to the right so much as pivot and put pressure down into his right heel. So that was really the key this week. And then beyond that, there are certain, I guess, other uniquenesses that you might see in his style that are really just artifacts of how he developed as a young guy. So if you went through impact, and you and I were talking, let's say off air, that he really doesn't roll the right forearm or right hand over the left very much. And that's because he's always been really good in preparing the club face for the strike before impact. So it doesn't really require too much of a roll post-impact for him to meet the ball as he's intending to meet the ball. So, yeah, more of a body release than a hand release, people might say, but I think that that's something that he's done. Actually, I know that it's something he's done since he was 12 years old, and since he's always had fairly good to great ball control, we've really never looked to change that.
The only thing that also looks to me a little unconventional that you didn't talk about was sort of at the top of the swing, his left arm is a little bit bent. He straightens it in the downswing, but it's a little bit bent in the backswing, and that's obviously something that you did not think that was an important thing to pay attention to, I assume.
Yeah, sure. I would say that I have these corridors of movement, and as long as, similar to driving a car, you know, the width of the lane isn't necessarily the width of the car, it's slightly wider, and as long as someone's falling within the necessary parameters that provide contact control and face control and path control at the bottom of the swing, then I let those things go, because oftentimes they're harder to change. And when they don't relate to one of the critical skills of contact and strike control, then yeah, I've certainly been tolerant of that.
Well, Cameron, I know that there can't be anything better than celebrating your 42nd birthday with your student for so long winning the Masters, and all any of us want to say is congratulations and continued good fortune to you. Thanks for spending some time with us, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, Michael.
All righty. Well done.
Have you ever heard the phrase, you got the wrong end of the stick? Well, Eddie Merrins, that great golf coach from UCLA, had it so very right when he told people to swing the handle with the arms. Now, what did he mean by that? Well, every golf club obviously has two ends. It has a head end, and it has what you might call a handle end, a grip end. Most people, I've got a 50-yard pitch here, most people with this shot would try and lift it, and in so doing, they're going to use the head of the club and move it with the hands. Bad idea. Much better to do as Eddie Merrins suggested, and that is to swing the handle with the arms. The ultimate anti-scoop thought, that as you go back here, swing the handle, swing the grip with the arms. If you swing the handle with the arms, you'll have a very different motion than swinging the club head with the hands. So here we go. For Eddie Merrins, swing the handle with the arms. It'll give you a feeling of dragging the club through. Swing the handle with the arms, and if you do that, good contact is almost assured.
Hitting your driver on the top of the face and you're hitting those pop-ups that are going high and they're not really going anywhere, it's because your angle of attack into the driver is going to be fairly steep. So if I go ahead and stick a shaft or a alignment stick into the ground here, I think a lot of times what I see people doing, kind of shift their weight back, start down with their arms, and they're hitting down on it and it's catching it off the top of the golf club. So a good way to think about what you're trying to do differently is, with a driver, we would want you to feel like the angle of attack was working more shallow or more up. So if you look at this alignment stick I've got here, just making some swings here to where you feel like it's going more this way, not hitting so much down on it. And if we do that, it's going to help us get a lot different trajectory. We're probably not going to see the golf ball go so high. We're going to see the trajectory be a little bit flatter. And we're also going to launch it in a better position as the golf club comes through impact, because we're not hitting down on it, we're actually...
And so to give you an idea of what's going on with Jordan's eyes, I've put on this camera just because that's the kind of guy I am, so that you understand exactly what's going on here. So let's just see what Jordan sees, or what I see, what you see when we set up to a putt. When I set up like this, what we're doing is we want the eye line to be right over the path of the putter, so that our eyes can dictate what's happening with the path. And as we get closer and closer to the hole, as I said, the face of the putter is really important, but we don't have a lot of face rotation in a backswing on a short putt. So it really becomes a very much more of a concentration on what we're doing with the path of the putter head here. I'm focusing on what's happening with the path of the putter head. And if I take my eyes and do what Jordan does, where he kind of tilts back this way, what you can see is now that that path no longer looks like it's going at the hole. That if I went straight off of my eye line, it would almost look like I'm taking it inside relative to this path and then going across that way. So it almost would look like I'm doing this. If I took a ball now and made that putting stroke with my eyes like this, I'd bang it off the right edge of the alignment rod there. You can see that, so I'm tilting again. And the putter path is moving to my eye line, but because my eye line is out to the right, it's so skewed. So what Jordan does is he takes the eye line, he gets his target over here like this, and then right when he goes, he's just reacting and going down the line. Now, what this will do for you is it will get you to react a little bit more to the target instead of watching what's happening with the putter path. So we go look there, and you have to do it right away. It's almost like, and if you watch Jordan's, the movement that Jordan has, it's almost immediate. In other words, he looks right up at the hole and then pulls the trigger. And what I want you to understand is that while when you look in the camera, you certainly can see there's a lot of stuff out here that you can see. The eye really doesn't pick that up. When you look this way, I can see the golf ball and my putter in my peripheral vision right there. I can see that. I'm not necessarily aware of what the path is, but I can see what the putter's doing. And now all of a sudden when I'm looking over here, I just react to moving this putter. All of a sudden the putter just moves down the line. So we set up here, look over here, and then go. And you have to make sure that you do this with rhythm. And obviously this takes quite a bit of practice to do.
Thanks for joining us on Golf Channel Academy. This is School of Golf. I'm Sarah Brown alongside our professor, Martin Hall, and we're here to get you playing your best golf this weekend. What kind of drill do you have for me?
I have a drill to increase lag. Everybody wants lag because lag potentially means more distance.
Right.
To get lag, you have to train it. What a great drill this is. Take your setup. You're going to do this in a moment, young lady. Take your setup and then take your top hand, your lead hand off the club. For me, it's my left hand. And then just make your backswing so you sort of fold it up. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. You're going to take your hand with the glove on, and you're going to grab the middle of the shaft. You're not going to grab the grip end, you're going to grab the middle of the shaft. And with my glove hand, I'm going to try and pull that shaft towards my body. I'm trying to pull it towards my body. And I'm trying to pull it towards the body as I'm starting down. Oh, yeah. I can really feel that in both wrists there, so I'm training both wrists. So this hand is trying to pull the shaft at the body, the weight shifting forwards, a bit of pumping like that, tremendous feel of how to get the energy out there. So I cannot resist it anymore. Here we go, as much lag as I can get. Pulled it just a little bit, but certainly got plenty on it. Would you like to try that,
I
young
would
lady?
like to try that.
Good. So you take your normal setup up to the top now. Now with your glove hand, put your glove hand in the middle of the shaft. And the glove hand is, as you come down, the glove hand is trying to pull that shaft. Can you feel pulling at the body? Now, up to the top. So the glove hand is pulling the shaft to your trailing shoulder. Can you feel how strong that angle would be in your trailing wrist?
This is definitely a good drill, Martin, where you could do it anywhere.
Yes,
feel this
you
lag.
could.
And the pull I feel here, and then my hips turning through. I definitely feel that.
Well, that's going to add power to just about anybody's golf swing. And most people will line up for more distance, I can tell you that. Okay, here we go. Let's put a bit of pop on this one, young lady.
Okay, feel the lag.
Killer. Stayed up there forever. It's a training drill.
Yeah.
Does it make a difference in one day? Ooh, maybe this much.
Right.
But if you did it on a consistent basis, it would really add some speed at the bottom of your swing and there potentially some
And you
distance.
can do it anywhere.
Yes,
so.
you could. Anywhere you can swing a golf club.
Yep.
You could.
Well, thanks for joining us on Golf Channel Academy for the best in golf instruction. For more great tips like this, watch School of Golf Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern.
So when you have trouble developing any real swing speed with your driver, you're obviously going to have trouble developing any real distance. Now, how do we do just that? Well, let's make it real simple. We have to get out of our comfort zone and swing our arms a little bit faster. When we have issues with swing speed, usually what I see is the right shoulder tends to come out and over, the club tends to exit left. Now, as the club is exiting left, the club tends to be knifing towards the ground and it's very difficult to generate any real power. Keep the right shoulder back and down so the weight can go into the left toe, and now we can swing more from the inside. So instead of going this way, we want to come more this way so we can develop some swing speed. So keep the right shoulder back and down. When we get out of that comfort zone and we move those arms a little bit faster, we're going to be able to pick up some lost yardage. I guarantee it.
Want to learn how to lag the club? You want to learn to lag the club like our Masters champion Sergio Garcia? What is lag? Lag is this angle between the lead forearm and the club shaft. As that gets narrow, you've got lag, you've got power, you've got a chance to strike the ball and take the proper divot, hit the ball, and then the ground. If that angle between the forearm and the club shaft and the downswing is wide, you don't have lag. How are you going to learn to do that? Well, I've got a bar right here. You might have a sofa at the house, maybe a chair, maybe even a bench. What you're going to do is you're going to put the club on top of this bar, and then you're just going to saw that just like that. And what you're going to feel is, and what you can see is the angle in my wrist and forearm, it starts to decrease just like that. So when I go like this, you can see that angle between the lead forearm and the club shaft. That's going to get narrower. And as I start to get narrower, now I have some lag. And when I start to have some lag, that's when I have some power. And you're going to teach yourself that. Then you're going to move that bar. If you have a couch, you're probably not going to move that. It's maybe a little bit too heavy. You might be able to move the chair. But what you want to do is you want to mimic that. You're going to get this image that as you start down, that club shaft is just riding on that bar or on that sofa, and then you're going to bring that into the ball. And what you're going to get is you're going to get a good, clean strike. You're going to get a lot more distance than you were getting. And you're going to take a proper divot. You're going to hit the ball and then the ground. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. And you know what else you got to do to improve your game? Every Monday night, it's called The Golf Fix. I'm Michael Breed, the host, here helping you hit your ball the farthest it possibly can and the straightest with tips like that. Join us.
If you're having trouble flighting your wedges down like you'd see a tour player do, maybe yours are going too high and floating in the air and you're having trouble controlling your trajectory and your distance, I'm going to give you an image and a feel to help flight those wedges down and create that tour-like trajectory. Little three-quarter backswing's all we need. Lower that whole unit that you have. Keep all of that angle that you have in your wrists and lower that down until it gets past the golf ball. A couple of those practices, then go ahead and brush the ground after the ball. That'll create the right shaft lean and the right amount of loft to create that lower wedge shot. Once you have that feel, go ahead and hit it. Getting those hands in front, holding that angle until it gets past the golf ball as a rehearsal will give you that tour-like trajectory that you're looking for.
Welcome to Golf Channel Academy. I'm Michael Breed. One of my favorite things to do when the days get a little bit short is to get over to one of those home improvement stores, and I like to kind of come up with different ideas. One of the easiest things that you can do to improve your putting is to just get a little piece of PVC pipe. That's about 1 inch in diameter, and what you're going to do is you're going to cut it down so it's about 3 inches tall. Then what you're going to do is you're going to just putt it. And what we want to do is we want to strike it with the face such that it rolls straight. Now, here's the deal. This is really, really hard to do. If you're a little off with the toe, that thing will spin counterclockwise, and if you've got too much toe action, I come into this thing with the toe too much, it'll spin the opposite direction. What we want to do is teach ourselves how to come through this and strike this so that that thing spins and doesn't twist. And what you'll find is that this is very hard. Look at that. I finally got it, and that's practice. Now, what you do is you go, okay, what did I do to feel? What happened there in order for me to get that to do that? And you'll find, well, maybe I had to let the toe release a little bit more. So in order for me to let the toe release, I felt like I was taking that toe and just almost striking the top part of the golf ball with that toe. Then we go in and we start hitting some putts, and as we start to do that, that ball starts to roll exactly the way you want. This is a very, very difficult drill, but what I can promise you is that when you do this successfully and you teach yourself how to control that face, you're going to make a ton of putts and shoot a lot lower scores. Now, the other thing that you can do, we're here all the time on the Golf Fix. I'm the host, Michael Breed. We're helping you improve one tip at a time. Join us. You've got to make sure that you have control over this golf club. You've got to land it hole high. That's what's going to happen out here at Oakmont. You have to be able to control trajectories, control curve, control distance. And the way you're going to teach yourself, it's only going to require a shoestring or shoelace. Now, what I've done is I've taken part of that and I've put a little tape in it so you can see that I've got a little noose there, a little hole there that we're going to put tees into. I'm going to set that down. And what I want to show you is I've already got one on the ground here, so we've set it up and there's a tee right in the middle. And what I want you to do, and this is a great drill because it's going to help you with your alignment, which one of the most important things that you can do with dialing in those irons is to make sure that you've got the alignment. So what we do with the shoestring, and what Johnny Miller would do is he would make 3 sort of practice swings. This was his drill. It was sort of a 3-step drill. When he wanted to hit a cut, he would come in and he would stop and he would feel what it would feel like to have the face wide open or in an open position there. And so then he would get a feel like where were his hands and become very sensitive to where his hands were. Then, when he wanted to hit a draw, he needed to have that club face in a little bit of a draw position. So what did he do to get it into a draw position, and how was that different, right? So you feel like your trail arm might be a little bit on top of that, and that club face is shutting down or the toes beating the heel. And then when we want to go straight, you just kind of stop in there and just feel that club face getting square there. So now what we want to do is I want to come in and I want to feel this little cut shot. So in here like this, I want to feel that face a little bit open. And you can see that golf ball going out. Now it's just falling very, very gently to the right-hand side. That's one of the keys to being really good with that ball striking. Let's get this here. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did. You've got to wrap that tee around that. And now what I want to do is I want to feel that I'm going to hit a little draw. So what I want to do is I want to feel this club face get into a little bit of a closed position in that strike. And you can see that one I got turning over a little bit right to left. For you here and how you can improve both your awareness of the club shaft and your awareness of the club face, and all it requires is a coat hanger. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that hanger right on the grip, just like that. When you make your backswing, what I want you to do is do two things. One, I want you to point that hanger to the target line just like that. And two, I want to make sure that the hook of that hanger is brushing up against your forearm. If you let that come off the forearm, your club face is going to get into an open position, and then you're going to be trying to recover that open position the whole way down in the downswing. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a backswing. You're going to feel that hanger pointing to the line and the hook of the hanger touching that lead forearm. You do that a couple of times, get a feel of what that feels like. And the beauty of this drill is you can even hit a golf ball with it. And if you're just good enough, you might hit it hard enough. No, I didn't quite put the power into it. But this hanger here is going to help you out very much. You should take this with you, put it in the bag, carry it. It's going to improve all parts of your game, I promise you. Now, you know what you need to do to improve your game? You need to watch us every Monday night. It's called The Golf Fix. I'm Michael Breed, the host, and we're here with tips like that, helping you improve your game. Join us. Golf Channel Academy, I'm Michael Breed. Many of you are standing over these must-make putts, and you're not making them. And the reason why is that you're not allowing this putter to move smoothly through the strike. And it may be nerves, it may be a poor putting stroke, but what it definitely is it's not what you want. So here's what I want you to do. First, I want you to get yourself a putter grip that's a little bit thicker. As it gets a little thicker, what that's going to do is that's going to slow that opening and closing of the putter face. Get yourself a thicker grip, and that's going to calm down that rotation of the putter face. The next thing I want you to do is just do what Phil Mickelson or Sergio Garcia has done. Go to a claw or a saw grip. What you're going to do is you're going to take your trail hand, and you're going to hold that. You're going to let the putter just fall right in between your thumb and your index finger. Put your lead hand on, and then just make a stroke. And what's going to happen to you when you do that is, one, you're not going to get a lot of face rotation because the palm of the hand isn't going to turn over that much. And the next thing that's going to happen is you're not going to be able to decelerate that putter head. You'll be able to let that putter head swing nice and smoothly through that strike. So what I want you to do is get yourself a thicker grip and try that pencil or claw or saw grip that we've seen Sergio and Phil use, and I promise you're going to make more putts. The other thing that you can do to shoot lower scores, watch The Golf Fix every Monday night at 7. I'm Michael Breed, the host. We're here helping you improve one tip at a time. Johnny, this question comes to us from Sully from golfchannel.com. Johnny, I have heard it often from you and others, but never explained or demonstrated. What the heck is pronation and supination?
I don't think even Ben Hogan knew what it was, if you want to know the truth, because I took kinesiology at BYU and physiology and anatomy, and really, it's going to sound a little graphic, but when you're dead laying on a slab, that's pronation, and when you're laying that way, it's supination. So there are supinators in your both arms that go that way and pronators that go this way. But referring to the golf swing, Hogan really should have been saying is that the left hand through the ball is starting to go into a supinated position, which is an up position, and the right hand is starting to go from this position here to a pronated down position. So that's what it is. If you look at my impact position, I've got the left wrist bowed. It's starting to see a little angle there, starting to go into a supinated position, and this hand's square now, but right afterwards going into a pronated position. So there you have it.
As we take another look at this beautiful scorecard, best round of the day so far on Saturday at the TPC Sawgrass Stadium course. Birdies at 1, 2, 4, 9, 12, 13, 17. What a pick there. Giving up a shot at the last, his only bogey of the day. He is with the press right now. We'll take you there live to see how he felt about this round and how this golf course is playing this day.
Well, there's no wind this morning. The greens aren't any softer. It's going to be just as tough this afternoon. The greens are very firm. Some pin locations are really tough. It's just, we had a little bit of rain, but it was like nothing. I mean, it didn't do anything to them. They're still very firm, and they're getting fast, so I don't think too much.
Matt, this is your best round here ever in your career.
Thanks.
And you've had some good finishes and some not so good. How would you characterize your relationship with this golf course?
Like everybody else. Just hope to get through it. The course is hard. I mean, it's a hard course. Doesn't fit my eye on almost any shot like everybody else. That's how it was designed. So, you know, who loves it? Maybe the winner on Sunday, that's about it. But it's a hard course. It was designed to penalize you and challenge trouble and that kind of stuff, and that's what it does. It makes it uneasy for you, and there's not a shot out there that I'm comfortable hitting. So
18, you didn't really hit a bad shot on any of them, did you?
I hit the chip too hard. I was just trying to land it about 10 feet on and let it roll back and hopefully make 4, but you know, I got lucky. I made 5.
At a place that keeps you so off balance, what does it feel like to get it? You know?
I don't know. I still don't feel like I won. You know, I played great, but the wind was down, and you know, I mean, tomorrow's going to be just as hard. You know, and I got all the same thoughts that I've had for 14 times here of where the ball's going to go and could go and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not really overexcited about. You know, it'd be nice to have a chance and that kind of stuff, but it's not like, oh, you know, I'm going to go get it tomorrow, you know, not that kind of stuff. But I'm looking forward. You know, I had a flight. Well, I thought I was going to be out of here early tomorrow or even tonight, but now I got to change all that, so.
You and Brian had some fun for about 11 or 12 holes.
Yeah, Harm's great. He's my boy. He's great. He had a little struggle there in 13, 14, but he, get out of here. He, you know, he's great. I love fun twosomes like that.
William McGirt said earlier this week that you almost have to get lucky to have a week.
You need some luck. You have to have some luck to win any week. I believe that because I had some luck when I won both of them. And yeah, you need a bounce here and there. You need, you know, the ball to actually stop as opposed to rolling off the green, you know, or you know, getting a lie in the pine straw, or, you know, I don't know.
Did any of your birdies out there today involve that kind of lucky bounce in any way, or be fortunate?
Well, I hit a terrible shot on 4, and it just hit that far over the railroad tie. I knew right when I hit it, I thought I missed it. I thought it was going to be right in the water, and I turned 6 into a 3, so I got lucky there. But no, not really. I didn't really get. I screwed up 11. I didn't get up and down from the bunker there, and you know, good birdie on 12, 13, and I thought, you know, I got kind of lucky on 15. 16, I had a great chip, missed that one. But now, nothing really today. But, you know, it makes up for it. Thursday, Friday, I had plenty of those, so.
Pat, they always say the course doesn't really favor
anybody
or bombers, but does it usually identify the guy that plays the best?
Yeah, the guy that plays the best wins, for sure.
Yeah.
And it doesn't favor anybody because Tim Clark has won, and Tiger and Jason Day have won.
Yeah.
So Tim Clark's got 4 head covers, you know, so, but he knows where they're going. You know, he knows where they're going. He hits them. He hits those hybrids. You know, straight when I hit my wedge. I mean, he's incredible, and he putted well. You know, and he got on a firm, fast course, and he won. He was definitely the best that week. And you know, then you get Tiger winning twice, and you know, you've seen it up and down the line. Definitely the best player of the week wins for sure.
It's supposed to rain this afternoon pretty
Perfect.
hard.
I'll be in bed
for a couple hours. But do you think that will have an impact? And do you think it'll be
It's like watering. It's like watering the street. It doesn't matter. Because with this wind, it won't matter. I mean, yeah, go water the street and be dry in 10 minutes.